Okay, so we want to focus today on raising our game. The emphasis today is to not just raise our game. I'm going to be clear about the outcomes of today's session. It all links to the work we've been doing over the last few months, and you guys have been progressing really well, moving forward all the time. Sometimes it's one of them things where we don't realize how far we've come along until we stop back. And last week's session was about thinking to how far you've come along. But obviously, we don't rest on our laurels. And for me, it's about raising your game every week. Every week you raise the game. It's really important because if you're not raising your game, you're standing still and you're going to get overtaken. And I talk about how to do that, to keep raising your game and sort of keep enjoying it, which is key. A week in football is a long time, as you all know. I know you guys enjoy watching the game. I enjoy watching the game too. Sometimes it's difficult for me to watch because, I have my own interest in the game and players and teams and, but the point being is a week is a long time in football. A day is a long time in football. I never really get carried away. People say to me, you've been on teams, you've won, and you haven't looked, not that I don't look happy after we win. I just know that next week things can change fast. So I'm all for celebrating. Great. Won the game, won the trophy, won the competition. Fantastic. But I know the time to strike is when you're doing well. If you wait till when you're doing badly, then it takes too long to turn things around. You need to keep recycling things, guys. Like a team, when I sort of talk to coaches and managers, you've got to recycle the team. You have to, bring hungry players in. Because if the players who are play on a full stomach, metaphorically speaking, then it's difficult. That's why it's really important for you in your own career to stay hungry. It's like when you go to all you can eat buffet and you haven't eaten all day and you eat and eat and eat and then you're full, you don't want no more. And that analogy is true in football, where you always want to leave some room. Always stay determined, and we're going to focus on that. A week's a long time, guys. Today, you guys are sitting here and, some of you guys play for different teams. All aware of that. And have played, some of you have won, some get beat. Last week you might have won, you get beat. Things can change. On a Monday morning after you got beat on the weekend, it's like, on a Monday morning when you win, it's like, fantastic, great. For me, equally, we need to get in and keep raising our game because things can change really, really quickly in a week. As I mentioned earlier, you just don't know what can happen in football. There could be a team out there that has a player in your position that gets injured. They need you. You've got to be ready. That's the key for it. Week by week, day by day. So we talked about scoring where we are last week. What I do with my players, and I've done for a long time, is score themselves after a game. But the last thing you want to do after a game is score yourself out of 10 because if you won, you want to go and celebrate with your friends, your family, or celebrate at home quietly, or if you got beat, you want to just have some space. So the time to do this sometimes is the day after. Now, ideally, if you have a video of yourself playing, great. Or, for example, you might know someone at university, there's like the game analysis. You can send the video in and say, you know what, can you look at the game for me? If you don't have that facility to break the game down, game analysis, then okay, you can video it yourself if possible. But equally, you can think about it and be true to yourself and think, like I said last week, out of 10, physically, how did I score? Technically, tactically, psychologically. So let's say you got 5 physically, 7 technically, 7 tactically, psychologically, you got 5. Then you've got to go to the person who's an expert in their field to address such issues. Okay, so if you're struggling physically, then you've got to go to the physical trainer. There's no point moaning to somebody who can't help you. You go to the person who can help you technically. You need to go to a technical coach and talk about what you need to improve on. Tactically, the manager, the coach again. Psychologically, you have people like me out there, you're struggling for confidence or something like that, then I can maybe send you stuff to work on that's appropriate for where you are. And that's the sort of key we're moving forward. And this is really useful. It takes, 10, 15 minutes to sort of think, okay, and think about the game on the weekend. If you played a game on the weekend, or the last game you played, out of 10, how was I physically? How did I perform physically? Out of 10, 0 with 10 being high. Technically, where was I? Out of 10. Tactically, where was I? Psychologically. Now, some of this is going to be influenced by the opposition you've played. I know it shouldn't be, but it is, because obviously the opposition, the level, there's many variables that affect that. And you've got to be true to yourself when you're doing this, guys. There's no point sort of saying, well, actually, you know what? I'm scoring 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 if that's not the case. Well, there's no point putting yourself down saying it was a 4 or a 3 if that's not the case. You've got to really think and use your intuition and think, okay, physically, could I track back? Maybe I didn't prepare for the game physically well. Maybe my nutrition wasn't good. Maybe I didn't sleep well. Maybe I didn't sort of do my recovery, swim or run the day after a game, and that sort of built the lactic up. So got to think, or maybe my levels need to improve, or maybe the person I was playing against was just fitter than me, better positioning. I don't know. But unless you address the issue, it's going to stay. And that's the problem with that. And you've got to think, okay, well, where do I need to improve? So if you're playing fullback and the person you're playing against just, pinged you back, you couldn't get out of your own half, you sort of drop deep. You've got to think, well, okay, it might have been a tactical issue, but it could also be physically. So I need to think about that. So you've got to be a thinking person in sport, in football, technically. And we're going to talk about this later on. Have you got something that you do technically that works for you? I've seen it before. Players, they can make a career out of doing something really well. You cut back inside, off the left, onto the right. But then the higher up you go, guys, they figure out, they work you out and think, okay, I know what he's going to do now. So I'm going to show him inside. Now, what you need to do is go away and think, well, what I need to do now is maybe get onto my left and make an angle and strike. And at least you've got another option then. You put doubt in their mind. So these are all the things you need to do going forward. Tactically, I need to think and focus. Because even tactically, you could have these in place, but tactically, you're all over the place. You're running around everywhere. And it's not good because you're not going to do yourself justice. Psychologically is a big one. But you could be the opponent, the team. It could be a trial. It could be maybe you're struggling with confidence. It could be motivation. And this is huge because if you don't have this in place, then irrespective of how fit you are, how good you are technically, tactically, if one goes missing, that's why we need to look at all the components that are key in the game and just take a moment now to think, okay, the last game, because a week in football is a long time, and the most important game you've got now is the next one. The last game is gone. You can't bring it back. It's done with. Win, lose, or draw, it's over. Just assess it and move on and do the best performance next game. And the reflection really, if you've got the video, is great because you can count how many shots did you have, how many crosses did you put in, how many first balls did you win, second ball, tackles, passes, corners, free kicks, saves, a keeper distribution. Some of these might not apply to you, but the ones that apply to you are really important. And if you've got a video, you can look at that and think, okay, where can I improve? How many box-to-box runs did I make? All these things are really important. Did I shoot when I could have? Any striker will shoot and try and score as many goals as they can. It's not being selfish, it's being single-minded. That's your job. So there's no point, even if someone else is on a hat-trick or never scored a goal in, whatever. Even if you're winning, the mentality you have as a striker, for example, and all the strikers I've seen and worked with over the years who've sort of played professionally, the mentality they've got, generally speaking, is even if they're winning 10-0 and a member of the team hasn't scored a goal and they'd like to score a goal, if there's an opportunity to square it back, they're going to shoot and score another goal. You know, when you watch these strikers play, they want to build their tally. Okay, that's what it's all about. You know, obviously, if they're in a better position to you consider it. But the idea is really, you know, every opportunity you get, you know, crosses. Have I put enough in the box? Now, this is an issue, guys. You know, things like crosses and shots become an issue. But where crosses become an issue is that you even see the best footballers, you know, some of the best footballers in the best leagues, when it comes to that final third, they do all this nice, intricate play, passing and movement everywhere. They look good. And this is the thing that gets me when you see the stats and they say we dominated the game. Just because you have possession, the only score that counts is the final score. Doesn't matter if you had 90% possession. It's what you do with it. Okay, if you get to the final third and you're pinging in crosses that are nowhere, then that's no good to anybody. And this needs to improve. If that's your job to put a cross in the box, then you need to think, well, how can I improve? That's why you've got to reflect on the game. So I've put 10 crosses in the box. You say to yourself, am I hitting the danger areas? Am I hitting the areas that I need? You know, am I whipping the ball in? They're the sort of key things to think about. You know, how many of them? How many crosses that I put in the box did I create goal-scoring opportunities? First ball, okay, I see strikers sometimes, the ball's, you know, pinged up to them, and as a release, they're not holding the ball up. It's a huge problem if you're a striker, you don't hold the ball up because you can't bring the other players in, and also the players can't get a breather. So am I holding it up? Am I winning first ball? Am I winning second ball? And you need to see that, you video it, and improve those areas. Because if you improve these fundamentals, then you can build on that. You know, tackles. How many tackles did I do in the game? Passes. Okay, and I've spoken to players in the past, guys, and I've been in this game for a long time, as you all know, and they've told me that they thought they played well. Okay, well, fair enough. You're entitled to believe that. Then you go back over the video, and it tells a different story. Okay, it tells a different story. The passing was poor. It didn't find the man. You know, five passes out of 10 success rate. The corners, not good. You know, not hitting danger areas, and you know the free kicks were what. So these are the things to think about. The keeper, you know, was he or you know she? If it was a women's game, beaten at the near post, and you know, too often. And it's like I watched the game last night on TV, and the keeper was beaten twice. I don't know the keeper, so I don't want to comment. I won't comment about people I don't know anything about. But twice I saw this keeper beaten at the near post. A keeper that's playing in the highest level beaten at near post. I'm thinking, wow, this, you know, can't be happening in this level of the game. And that's why you see some of the stats and things, okay, you know, they don't make sense. So these are the things, the saves, the distribution as a keeper. And for me, I've said this before, if you're a defender, guys, for me, it's all good and well. It's all good and well being a defender that likes to get forward. No, the game's changed now. The game's changed a lot these days. You know, we like keepers to distribute, to get forward. But as a keeper, the job is to keep the ball out of the net. As a defender, the job is to tackle, to win that first ball, to win that second ball. So even before I'm interested in my defender, if I'm helping develop a defender, worry about getting forward and making a run, get the fundamentals right. That's why there's certain teams in the world that will not win a major tournament because the priority is for the fullback to play as a wingback, and they can't tackle or pass, win second ball, win first ball. Can't do it. They can't even mark off a corner. And I'd tell some of these players to their face, and the coaches, I'd say, I have no issues with saying that, you know, because basically, yeah, it's all good and well. You get forward and you make the man and you make space. But we've seen it time and time again. The teams that win tournaments, okay, are the teams they've got a solid defense line. If you're a defender, you've got to think, okay, the tackles. You might think to yourself, I had a great game. I'm, running on and moving on. But then you look at the video and think, well, you've been beaten 2 or 3 times. You've not tracked back. You've not picked up your man in the corner. And you're a defender first and foremost. So these are things to think about for me psychologically. Reflect on the game in these areas, guys. What we need you to be at this academy is ruthless in the game. And we think of football philosophies. And I've said before that Tony and myself, we share very similar football philosophies. And people say, well, what's a football philosophy? It's just a series of ideas. For me, it's about being ruthless. What I mean by ruthless, I don't mean doing anything, rash or anything that's not in the laws of the game. What I'm saying is that to really go after the opposition, go after the opposition and be relentless. You keep going and really respect the opposition. Even if you play an opposition that you think, okay, we'll beat these guys. We've beaten them before 10-0. Well, I want to beat them 11 now. They're on the field with you. They're trying to make a point. Remember the early moments you get up to train, the hard work you put in. Don't give anyone an inch in this game, guys. A lot of you guys, you come from nice families and, you're good guys. And I've seen players over the years, in my experience, they're great guys, great family. And I've got to teach them that when you cross the white line, it's ruthless time, okay? You put the big tackle in. You put a big, and last night I was watching this same game. There was a defender. It was a perfect legal tackle, played the ball, but it was a bone-crunching tackle. No free kick. And the commentator was like surprised that a player would do that. That's what you need to do, man. That's what you need to do in the game, I'm afraid, because that changes the course of the game. If someone's sort of, having a jolly up with you and you're a defender and you're not doing that, they're going to have a field day, guys. Okay, you put a big tackle in and you watch the whole atmosphere change. And yeah, people have sort of criticized me because I've said this over the years to my players. I want to see a big I've never, in my career as a coach, in what I do, performance related, said anyone do anything that's outside the rules of the game. Never, and I never would. Never go out, injure a player or anything silly like that. What I'm saying is put good, strong challenges in. If, for example, the 50-50 ball comes along, okay, and you're a keeper, then you take it. Your ball, okay? No one's going to say anything if you drop the ball, or if someone beats you to the ball and they score on your team. It's going to reflect on you. The 50-50 ball, then that's what people remember, the outcome. So it's about being ruthless, about respecting opposition, and if you're winning 9, you go for 10. I know obviously there are certain games where you might pull back and save energy. I'm not saying, you maintain the pace, but I mean, you've got to be ruthless in this game. And this starts in training. Even like Monday morning training, it's a 2v2 you play, 4v4, whatever you play, you've got to be ruthless. If you're doing goal shooting practice, then you want to beat the person, or you want to be the top person in the academy to score the most goals. Okay, the keeper, there you're practicing, you think, oh, you know what? No, it's train as you play. Okay, the keeper moans and says, oh, you know what? It's only training. Well, you got to get it together. It's the way it is. So that ruthless streak, when you go over that white line you're playing, it's important that, you know what? I'm going to go for it. I'm going to really leave nothing in the tank, okay? And I'm not going to give any inch to anybody, okay? If there's an injured player on the field who's carrying an injury, a hamstring injury, and they're above, below par, then I'm going to go at him, okay? I'm going to get the ball and attack that player because that's a weakness, okay? And you might think, okay, well, this is a bit too much, but then it's about winning the game. We play to win. I know academy is about development, and I'm all for that. But I'm sorry, and I've said this many years ago, and I'll say it now, and I'll continue saying it, that even in development phases, winning is a habit. Winning is a mindset. Okay, I'm not saying you get for example, under 12s team, and you decide that winning is is more important than development, because it's not. I'm aware of that. But winning has to mean something to them too. Okay, that was one of my arguments when they talked about not having a winner or a loser in these training, in these games. How absurd is that? You know, not a win. Of course, people win and lose. You have to teach people that that's what life is about. You lose. I've lost times and I've won times, and we're all going to lose at some point in our life. It's just the way it is. It's sport or business or whatever, personal life. And it's not when you lose, it's what do you when you lose? You get back up. And that's not to be one of them coaches, you know, in development. You say, you know what, because it's easy to stick, you know, a big striker up front in development and you know, Route 1 football. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you know, you play to develop, but also you play to win. But if you play first team football, it's all about winning then. It's winning the game. So what do I need to improve and get these results? We've talked about, and we'll come back to, guys, because that's really important for me. And you know, when you play 2v2 in training, play to win. Subconsciously, if you don't play to win, when you go in the game, it stays with you in some level. You know, all the top players will play to win. It's got to hurt if you're playing 2v2 and you get beat. You know, it's got to hurt if a man's got the better of you. And it's got to hurt somewhere inside, because if it doesn't mean anything to you, you carry that. Okay, when I see teams after they've been beat don't show any emotion, I don't get it. I really don't. I don't. Maybe sport's not. Maybe sport in this level is not for them. I don't know. But the level you're playing at, a different story. You know, if you're going to play, you know, Sunday barbecue football with the friends, then that might be a different story altogether. But you want to play at a level, then it's about the game head, guys. Okay, so it's about putting your game head. Now, I'm all for, like, you know, watching games together and, you know, having a good time and you know, bonding sessions and having a laugh, and it's important you do that, because the intensity is no good if you're always intense. But we need to learn about the game head. And this want you to think about what is your sort of, you know, what's your game mindset, that when it gets closer to the game, you're in game mode. And this sometimes is you're so focused, someone can wave to the crowd. If you're playing in the crowd, you don't even notice them. And they say afterwards, you didn't wave back. Well, I didn't see you because I was focused on my job. When you're doing your job, whatever your job is, I'd like to think you're focused. And that's the key. The game head is key, because football, guys, is a game of momentum. You build momentum. Okay, this is what concerns me when I'm in football, and I'll truthfully be honest with you. This is why I don't sort of rest, even if I'm, you know, no matter how many games we've won in a row, I can't rest on it, because I know it's momentum. Okay, and even if you sort of, people say, well, okay, we've only lost in this tournament doesn't matter as much as, no, they all matter. You might not play your strongest team because you can't all the time. If there's a lot of games, I'll say your strongest team, you know, different players might get a game, but losing's not good, because you've seen this before. I know you guys have seen it in FA Cup, where you got like a team flying in the league. All of a sudden they put a weaker team out, they get beat, and that doubt goes in their mind, they're going to losing run. Winning's a habit, guys. Okay, you can be 20 points in front of someone in the season, and they can haul you back. Okay, I've been in situations when I work for teams, we were like 10, 15 points behind other teams. You tip to be relegated, and that's why they brought me in. And we've hauled it back. And what we do is we focus on one win. One win becomes two becomes 3, 4. I tell the players, win the half. Okay, win the first half, and then we'll win the second half. Then once you win that game, the whole atmosphere changes. It's a game of momentum. So don't think if you're winning the league by 10 points, guys, that it's job done. Until it's mathematically a possibility, you keep going. And even then you got to think about, I'll carry these habits to the next season. So I need to keep playing to my level. You set the benchmark. You might become a victim of your own success because you sort of set a high benchmark, but that's okay. That's when you got to stand up and live up to it. So football's momentum. I know what it's like. I've been in situations where you can't get a win from anywhere. No matter, you play well and decisions go against you, all these things happen, and you've got to keep doing the right things. But I've been in other situations where you play badly, you win. So we know, and think about that, guys, irrespective of what your performance was in the last game, get some momentum going into the next game. And it starts today. You know, you went 10-0 on the weekend, you lost, whatever. It's not relevant now. What's relevant is how can I take momentum into the next game? We're going to show you to do that shortly. But you've got to remember not to focus on the outcome too much, the process. If you focus too much on the outcome, then it puts more pressure on you. So what I've done with teams when we've had to sort of turn the season around, I said, forget about the table, ignore it. What we need to do is focus on every game, every half, every minute, every training session. And if we do the right things, okay, and I want everybody with a positive mindset. I want the people who work on the desk, positive mindset. I want the cleaners, positive mindset. I want the kit person, positive mindset. Everybody. No room for one shred of negativity anywhere. We're going to get out of this situation. We're going to do it by every training session and focus on the process in the game. We're going to ignore who we're playing, where they are in the league. If they're top of the league, the middle league, the bottom, all irrelevant. We're going to focus on our game, on our process to get the result we need. Okay, so we're playing the team top of the league, or we're playing a team battling for promotion. Not relevant to me. Control the controllables. If we focus on what's in the outcome, you know what it's like, then the pressure you put in yourself. You start thinking, oh no. Obviously, we know the outcome, we want to win the game. But if we just focus on winning the game, then we forget about how we're going to do the game. It's like when you sort of go to a destination, you've got to focus on driving there. You can't just focus on where you're going, and that's the game. You've got to really focus on the process. That'll take the pressure off you guys. So to do the momentum that I talked about, to build serious momentum, what we need to do is the following process, game by game. Once again, it might not be appropriate to do this after a game when emotions are high. Sometimes you play, guys, and the emotions are raw. Okay, the last thing you want to do in the dressing room is when you sort of had a big win. You want to celebrate. You want to celebrate after the win. Okay, you don't want to review it then, or you got beat. You want to commiserate. You want time on your own. Okay, that's the thing. Be mindful when you celebrate too, by the way, guys. And what I mean by that, I know, and some of the teams I've worked with have done this as well, and players I've worked with, I know there's the in thing about celebrating and putting it on social media, and I've got no problem with that. I just tell the players, be careful when you do that, because the team you've played against, there's a fine line. I have to appreciate, that you have the right to enjoy yourself, and teams do it to me, fine, it's okay, I can appreciate that. If you rub salt into their wounds, then you've done their team talk. So be careful when you're doing that you don't sort of make it personal, because if you do, they'll wait for you. Okay, and you've done it. I've seen it in the papers. There's been times with my teams, I've not had to do anything psychologically, mentally. I've just shown the team talk. That's what he said about you. That's what the papers have said. That's what the team thinks about you. Okay, so you got to be mindful when you celebrate too, that you don't do it in a way that win. We can all appreciate that, and commiserate as well. You got another chance. Okay, and this goes for if you have a trial, for example, if you sort of you get an opportunity to trial somewhere and it doesn't go well. Okay, it's okay to be disappointed, but don't kick yourself, because you'll get another chance in life. So maybe you've got a scout watching your game, and you've not played well, and you think, oh no. Okay, this is where you got to review the game. And I want you to think about the last game. This is how you do it. After the game, when the emotion's okay, settled, what you do after the game, the day after, I normally leave it 24 hours, guys. I tell my players 24 hours after the game, what you do is you sit down, you have a cup of coffee or tea, or you have a sport drink for you guys, and you sit down and think, okay, what did I do well physically? Okay, and that might be sprint, recovery running, energy, stamina. So we talked about other things early in the game. Technically, I headed the ball well. I won, first ball. I won second ball. My passing was good. Out of 20 passes, and this is the danger here too, that you worry too much about, because I'm seeing players who've got high passing accuracy, 100% accuracy, but okay, and this might be their role, but something that's not their role, they play it safe. Okay, anyone can sort of play it safe and play it short to somebody else and not try and ping a ball. I'm not saying don't try and ping a ball at the right time, but obviously you don't want every ball to be a worldie, try and do a world, but you've got to focus and play the right ball. And technically what I do, I passed the ball really well. I headed the ball well. If I missed the penalty, technically I'm meant to improve that. Free kick, I hit the wall. Tactically, what to do well. So these are sort of key things that you need to focus on. What did I do well? Psychologically, what did I do well? I was confident, motivated. So write as many things as you can think about. Okay. Once you got the chance today about what you did really well in the last game, as many things you can think about, and that'll build your confidence. Okay. The flip side is, acknowledge what didn't go well, but let it go. Okay. And sort of determine if you're out of form, if you're losing form, for example, if you're out of form, is it physical or mental? Am I overtraining? Am I sleeping well? Am I eating well? These are the things that you want to think about. Mentally, maybe I'm mentally tired. Maybe confidence is an issue. Maybe I've got things going on at home, or at work, or whatever, school, college, and I'm not with it 100%. And these are things that might need to be addressed. And the key thing is what didn't go well tactically. Well, I got caught out of position a few times. I didn't understand the zonal marking in the box. Maybe I could have get forward, made more forward runs. I didn't track back and think, what did I do well? Physically, it could be an issue around stamina, speed, just preparation. Technically, if you're not winning second ball, then do reaction time drills. If your passing's an issue, then get against the wall for 2 hours, an hour, and practice your passing. Or get a friend, go to the park, practice 50-yard passing, 40-yard passing, bring it in. Okay, winning first ball, then practice, get someone with you, like a sparring partner, and someone to ping the ball in, and you practice and bang, heading the ball, getting the first ball. So these are drills you can do. You have to do your own thing as well. Or tactically, you sort of sit down and watch other players, all your coaches. Psychology, email me if you want, or talk to players that might be able to help you as well. And I think, okay, this is where I am at the moment. These are the key things. And then address them, action them. Okay, don't let them fester. Think 10% problem, 90% solution. Don't be one of the types of people that just focuses on the issue all the time. Address the issue, it's there, but then we move forward. My philosophy with the players I work with and athletes, let's move forward. Okay, let's action it. Let's not get stuck on the past. Past is gone. We need to move forward now and address the issue. So then you individualize plans, because you have to maybe do an extra hour or two to get your fitness levels up. You might need to go and do recovery, more recovery work. You might need to do things you need to do. And that's where you guys, you've got to take responsibility for yourselves. I've said this a lot throughout the course, guys. It's about personal responsibility. Okay, no one else will do it for you. In life, what happens, you don't take responsibility, you end up getting lost. you know, somewhere, and people move forward. So it's about, you know, I get the ball, I'm going to practice what I need to practice to move forward in the next game. But the only way you're going to do that is by doing what I said before. Reflect on the game. I know this is sort of going over it, and you're thinking, oh no, but you've got to really hit this home. You know, what went well is key. What do I need to improve? You know, let go of the negatives. And the other point I'm trying to make here is, what positives can I bring into the next game? For me, too many teams analyze bad performance. Okay, too many teams analyze bad performance, and they focus on the strengths of the other players, not their own. Okay, that's not good. You want to focus on the other player's strengths to figure it out tactically, but then you want to focus on what you've got to nullify that, to nuance that. Okay, if the player's got pace, well, maybe I'll drop a bit deeper. If they've got good close ball control and they're a good dribbler, then I'll practice watching the ball before we sort of. So it's always useful when you go into a game, guys, against a player to get a sparring partner as well. Okay, if you're playing against a player who's really good close ball control, it might be you get a sparring partner who's got really good close ball control and do half an hour practice. How are you going to take into the game? You think, oh, Jim, you know, you're really meticulous. You don't every stone you cover here, but you have to do the highest level. If you're going to play against a player who's a flyer, who's got tremendous pace, and you've got to find someone who's got pace that's okay, let me just practice this for half an hour before I play what I'm going to do. Like a spar, like a boxer is going to spar someone as similar as the competitor. You know, it's going to help you a lot. You know, with my players, if they're playing against someone who's really big, tall, first ball, you're not going to get there first. Okay, well, let's think about what you're going to do with the play. You might drop deep and focus on second ball. It's no point if the player's, you know, going to outleap you all the time in that space between week by week. You're not going to jump higher half a foot. So it might be that what you do is think, okay, you know, speak to the manager, say, well, maybe we'll drop deep here, but you practice that. You got to rehearse that. You can't against a player who's got, you know, really good close ball control. Then you get someone coming in at pace and watch the ball, show them the line, show them inside. So these are things for half an hour, and you bring these into the next game, and you let go of the negatives. There's going to be a game, guys, that all you're involved. We've all been there before, where the player you're playing against just completely. You have those games where you got no answer for them. That could be a defender that puts you in their back pocket. That could be a striker that sort of, you know, runs you. And what you got to do when these things happen is don't take it, you know, too hard. Don't panic. Think, okay, well, what did I do well? There's always a way. What do I need to improve against him next time? Okay, what do I do next time? And let go of the negatives. Think of the positives. Okay, there's going to be times when you dominate a player. You know, you're a defender. You've got him in the back pocket, or you're a striker, or you're a keeper, whatever. They're going to come back. If they're anything about them, they're going to come back 10 times harder next time. That's the danger. And you've got to think, well, what do I do next time? These are things to think about as you move up in the ranks in the game of football. The higher up you go, the more even things are. Okay, the more close things are, the more it's a mental situation that sort of, you know, and I think about now, you know, an action plan. We close today, an action plan to raise my game this week. An action plan this week for me to take into next week to raise my game. Now, physically, okay, you might argue, well, I'm not going to improve my speed in a matter of 3 or 4 days, but it might be the speed you've got, you maximize it by sort of, you know, periodizing and thinking, well, actually, you know what, the day before the game, you know, I'll sort of do a recovery as well as what you're doing here. It's sort of, you're not overtraining, but stealing the occasional inch here and there. Technically, okay, what do I do? Well, okay, I'm going to go against a wall for an hour. on Tuesday night or Wednesday night and just practice my volleys, practice my first touch. Okay, tactically, I'm going to watch a game this week, maybe Champions League. I'm going to watch a player and study him. Okay, I'm going to study a player in the Champions League and see what they do. I'm not going to watch as a fan. I'm going to watch as a student of the game, and I'm going to pretend in my mind, if I was playing against them, what would I do? Okay, and by doing that, then I'm raising my game psychologically. I'm going to sort of practice rehearsing mentally throughout the week and sort of getting into state to go forward. And the key point is what I said before, what you're doing now is the most important thing in the game. Okay, what you do now, because you can't control the future, you can't relive the past. The next action you take is the most important action for you towards the next game. Okay, because that's the only action you can influence going forward. So it's really important that when you get out there today, and you'll see, I'll say it 100 times between now and as long as we work together, is you need to train as you play. Okay, irrespective of where you got beat on weekend, and you know sometimes you go into, it's like when you sort of see, sometimes you see like international duty. You know, some players, they're doing well at their clubs and they're happy, they're buzzing. Some players, the club's not doing so good, and they report international duty. And you see the players who are full of confidence and everything's going well, and the ones who sort of aren't doing well. But it's really important that they join together then, and sort of whatever's going on, it gets out of the system when we move forward. For you guys, you know, whatever's happened on the weekend, okay, and sometimes you play against players that you know really well, and that's not always easy. Sometimes family play against each other, and that's not always easy. But once you cross that white line, it's competition. You know, it is what it is. You know, so train as you play today, 2v2 sport, whatever you do, win the goal when you're doing, you know, shooting practice, win it, score the most goals. You know, 2v2, aim to win. Okay, let's keep raising the bar as high as we can. And that's not trying to put any more pressure on anybody. It's just gradually raising the expectation. Because I back you lads, believe in you lads, and I believe by raising the bar incrementally, extending the comfort zone, then you'll get to where you need to, you'll fulfill your potential. So it's focusing now. Okay, so once again, guys, if you got any questions, anything, drop me an email. We're doing well. All contact details as usual is here. So have a fantastic week, guys, and hit the ground running today. And any sort of questions, fire us an email. We'll go from there. Well done, guys. Fantastic. Brilliant. Thanks, guys.